Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new on my channel, my name is Stella. I'm an education, lifestyle and mom YouTuber based in the United States. I'm a PhD student in the United States, and on this channel I discuss stuffs around scholarship opportunities, because I did a master's degree in India on a fully funded scholarship, and a PhD. I'm currently doing a PhD here in the United States on a fully funded scholarship. So I think I know a little bit. I think I have some information that I just feel like using my platform to share with people anytime I'm able to do so. And I also bring here a little bit of my life, whether boring or interesting, as a mom. And yeah, so that's what we do on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button. It is the red button which is down there below. And if you want to get notified whenever a new video pops up on my channel, you can click the bell which is right next to the subscribe button, and so whenever I make a new video you get notified. In today's video, I want to talk about making the decision to actually come to the United States with my children. I have 2 kids and I'm here in the United States with them, and of course I'm married with 2 kids. So we all came to the United States together with these kids, and I just want to talk about making the decision to actually come here with them. It doesn't come that easy. It's not like when I got my offer of admission, I was very excited, but it's not like it was all excitement from the beginning till just bringing the kids here. It was a different ball game for me. When I got a fully funded scholarship to study in India, I was single, I wasn't married, and I didn't have kids at the time. So all I was caring about was just myself, and which is not as much of a big deal as when you have people to care for, which of course are your dependents. You need to think about other things about them that is not even about you before you make that decision to actually bring them down here. And for the fact that they are kids, you wouldn't want to move kids away from their natural environment to an environment that is totally new to them. Imagine the culture shocks and every kind of shock you have as an adult when you leave your comfort zone, in this case Nigeria, to go somewhere else that you want to leave. Not like you're just visiting for holiday or something and coming back, but you're going to live there for quite a long time, for years. So you really have to put a lot of things into consideration before you make that decision. I know a couple of people who decided that, you know what, I can't deal, and then they left their kids with either their mom or someone, maybe some relations anyway, and some even with their husbands, to come over here to study, and then after a while they come with them. In my own case, because I always like to use myself as an example so that you can relate like very well. In my own case, I found it like, I'm like, no, I can't do it. At some point, like when we had to consider a lot of factors in terms of my husband not being able to move like permanently with us. Of course he traveled with us, but like moving permanently to be here with us wasn't feasible at that time for him. So we were like, how am I gonna cope with the kids? But then, in the course of all those considerations, a couple of very close family members were like, how about dropping the first child and going with the younger one? I'm like, no, it's either I go with these kids or I'm not going. I was that headstrong, but then I was scared. I'm like, I want to go with them, but I don't know how I'm going to cope. I can't leave them behind, and I want to go. It was a lot of back and forth, and I intend to actually tell the story. Maybe when my husband is around, we'll talk about how we actually, like, what we went through making the final decision to actually like take up this opportunity and go together. But for this video, let's focus on the things you need to consider if you're traveling with your kids to come over here to study. And this is from my own personal experience. There might be other things people consider that I may have missed here, and that's fine. Feel free to put them down in the comment section if you feel like there's anything that I missed out that needs to be considered as a factor when you're coming here with kids, especially younger kids. When I was coming here, my daughter was she was 3 years old. Yeah, she clocked 3 years and just like 2 months, 3 years 2 months. And then my son, who was the younger one, was just 17 months old. So it was really scary. So, but yeah, So the first thing you need to think about is accommodation. If you were coming here as a single person, that you may not be too bothered about that, because you will feel like, when I come, I'm going to squat with somebody or something like that. But you can't squat with anybody when you come with kids, right? Who do you want to squat with, really? You can't even your own space, you'll be managing it with your kids. Talk more of squatting with someone. So you need to consider accommodation. Just before your own accommodation, you need to consider where you are going to be landing to. You are not like, it's not always possible for people to get accommodation while they're in Nigeria, especially if they don't like have certain connections over here. But I was able to do that, not because I was able to do a lot of networking, talk to a lot of people. So people were already on ground working things out for me. Mind you, these are not people that I have ever met in my entire life. These are people that I met them for the first time when I landed here. So I connected with them. I think I should film a video about networking if you want to study, if you're going outside of Nigeria to study, especially when you're coming with family, how you should network. So I networked a lot. So I had a lot of people here who were on ground navigating things for me and making sure that I had everything I wanted in place on arrival, and it worked. So you need to think about your accommodation. What kind of accommodation are available in the area you're going to. For me, of course, I'm here as a student, so I wanted a student accommodation, but I wanted something that was family friendly as well. So it wasn't going to be like an accommodation for just a single person, but an accommodation that is student but as well family friendly. And pretty much I got what I wanted. It may not be like 100% what I wanted, but it was a good start for me, and I'm so grateful that I got that opportunity. And I'm using this video so to shout out to all those who like made all that effort to ensure that I got the accommodation. So accommodation is one. Another thing you want to consider is school or childcare system. So you know the age of your kids. Try to make proper inquiries, ask people, Google up as well on the kind of the schooling system for children where you are going to. Consider the age of your children when making this inquiry. So in my own case, I knew my kids were just going to be enrolled into daycares because that's how the American system is for their age. They were not of school age. So I had to start making inquiries about daycares. I was doing all these things while in Nigeria, not when I had landed. So I started making inquiries about daycares, how much it involves, and the timing. And then I asked questions about my own schedule as well, and trying to, like, I was making that network between what's going on, what's going to be happening to me as a PhD student. So I did that by contacting those who are doing a PhD in chemistry, in not just chemistry, but like people who can relate to my own to the kind of life that I'll probably be living as a woman that has kids and then doing this program, right? So I had to connect that schedule that they are kind of letting me know about with the school, with the schedule for the daycare. You know, try to create that synergy so that I can have a picture of what it could be like, because at the end of the day it may not be exactly that way when you land, but the shock is not going to be so much because you already have like a picture of what it could be like. And so you keep that space for, okay, if it doesn't work this way, then we can always find a way to navigate around it. So find out about school, because if you don't find out about childcare and all of those things, or school, and when you come here and you want to start navigating all those things, you might just land here and have only 2 weeks to settle in and start your classes or start whatever it is that brought you here. So you want to do that before you land here. And it's possible, everything is online, so you can get all that information. I remember there is no school, I didn't call, there's no childcare, I didn't call, and I was calling with my MTN line in Nigeria. When I landed, one of my friend here was like, so Stella, all this while you were making all these calls, you were using your Nigerian line to call US lines, you were really chopping money. I'm like, yeah, it's worth it. You're coming here with kids, you can risk everything you want to risk while you are still at home, not when you have landed you now start regretting things and all that. Then another very important thing you want to consider as someone coming with kids is healthcare. Remember that as as a mom in Nigeria, for example, in my case, I already knew, okay, when my child is this has fever or something like that, I just know what to do. It said I know the hospital to go to, and even if I'm not able to go to the hospital, I know what to do. I have my doctors, the kids' doctors' numbers. I have their nurses and all that, and you know that, like, this is your comfort zone. This is your natural environment. I like using that word a lot. So when you're going to a new country, like in my own case coming here, I had to make proper inquiries about healthcare system. What is the process, like how is it here? It's not just about America has a good healthcare system. Yes, they have a good, UK has a good healthcare system. Yes, they have a good healthcare system. Does it work like your country where you're coming from? It may not necessarily be so, and in the US it's a totally different ballgame. So I had to make all that inquiries to find out what am I supposed to do when I land with my kids, what do I do to ensure that when they fall sick I have where I can go to. There's something called medical insurance. I'm sure even in Nigeria we have that, but it's not as pronounced as it is here in the United States. So you also have to think about medical insurance for both yourself as a student, which in most cases as a student, in my case I'm fully funded, so mine was already taken care of by the university, but you need to know whether that covers your kids as well or it doesn't, and if it doesn't, what are your plans? So you need to think about all those things. It doesn't mean when you are making these plans you may not necessarily be taking actions immediately, but then you are noting things down. You have an idea, you are aware of this is what it is and this is what I'm going into, and then you are making your plans using all of that. The final point that I have here, which I think is very important, is food. Think about your kids and the kind of foods that they like. When I was coming, my kids are fusy eaters. They don't, you literally have to force them to eat everything. You have to convince them and all. So introducing such kind of kids to an environment where the food is now different, it's a big deal. You might think, they like snacks. My kids like to snack on stuff, finger foods and all that, just like I do. So I guess I spoiled them with it. But then the snacks are different. Yes, you have plantain chips, you have potato chips, you have their fruit juice like Capri Sun and all of that. But then they taste differently. And for kids who are very selective with food, you need to be very careful. So when I was coming, I had my son's types of cereals that he likes, because my son was still 17 months old, so he was eating a lot of cereals at that time. So I had the cereals that I knew that he loved so much. I had a whole box just dedicated to their own food. Then I had all kinds of snacks from Nigeria. I had peanuts. You know those peanuts in Nigeria. Yeah, I had peanuts. I had mini chin chin. I had biscuits. Oh my goodness, I had all brands of biscuits, because my kids like biscuits. I like biscuits too, so I bought all kinds of biscuits for them. I came here with that. I came here with our own Capri Sun, even though I think I've forgotten at some point where it was found in our okay, the one I checked in landed in the US with us, but the one that I was in the in my carry-on, that was in my carry-on bag, they had some issues with it, but it wasn't seized because I pleaded with them that my kids don't eat, and so these are kind of things that sustain them. So yeah, Capri Sun, I came with Capri Sun. I came with every type of snacks that I know my kids love, because I don't want them to come here and then they're already having issues from the day one, so I dedicated a whole box for that. So think about the food, think about how your kids are going to cope. My daughter likes ogbono soup, draw soup. So we made sure that we had ogbono. Even though we too would eat it, of course, but I was very conscious of that, because at least if there is nothing else to eat here, let us be eating ogbono soup. So think about where you're going to, and your kids, the kind of food they eat, what kind of people, what do they like food, and are those things available where you are going to. I asked all those questions, and so I came prepared. So there are a couple of other things to consider when it comes to your kids, honestly. Another thing is, when it comes to health, is, do your kids have are they on some kind of medications? Get prescription and make sure you come here with those medicines. There are medications everywhere. You can get prescription, you can go to the doctor and get prescription here, but you don't want to land here and then the first thing you want to do is to start looking for doctor to handle. Like, it's not that easy getting a doctor for your child, and then you know, start taking those medications that you know your child are, like, especially when your child has certain underlying ailment or something like that, and you have to give them some kind of medicine. So you should come here with those medicine. Anything that you know that your child takes, get prescription, and you'll be allowed to come into the country with it. So these are the few points that I have for you guys. There are a couple of others that you might need to consider. If you have anyone that you feel like might be helpful to even me or any other person, you can put it down in the comment section. And if you got value from this video, definitely let me know. Please give this video a thumbs up, click the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so. Thank you, and till I come your way next time, bye. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm in my natural hair, my all back, and then I have a bump here. All good and fine. I'm feeling good. Bye.